the sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First pride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity and spirit, the heart of the year. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go. Football and cheers make our spirits grow. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go. Football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. In Florida's field, real giant band.
All right, it is that time of the week. It is time for the South Florida edition of the Blitz here on FloorHSFootball.com, and appreciate everybody joining us here as we roll along here into week number 5 of the 2025 high school football season. I'm Josh Wilson. That's Christopher Light there on the other side there, and boy, South Florida, things have always been interesting in South Florida every time we come on here, and is no different in terms of what happened in week number 4, Chris. I can tell you that right now as we look at our going back and looking at some stuff here. If it wasn't for some interesting game results, it was for Mother Nature putting some games into the proverbial graveyard again down there, it seems like.
Of course, and Mother Nature always has her way down in South Florida. What else could you expect? I mean,
yeah, as we roll into the Blitz Lines here, and boy, I tell you what, a game that landed in the proverbial graveyard, they said they're rescheduling. I haven't seen a date necessarily yet. I haven't checked here in the last little bit, but West Broward at Cardinal Gibbons, that was interesting right there. That the game, Cardinal Gibbons has been impacted more by the weather. It seems like they can't get games off because anytime they get a game off, the weather is starting to come around.
Mm-hmm. And you feel for the kids in this situation because all you want to do is get out there and play a game, and they can't do it. I mean,
no, absolutely. No, they just can't do it, and that's the thing. It's really as I see the comments rolling along here, I see Mark Cannon says it's tropical down. Well, I mean, yeah, it's tropical. I mean, there's like this invisible line, and I've always learned this years ago. It's been living in Florida all my life. It's like once you get south of Orlando, it goes from being like a temperate climate all of a sudden to just tropical and flat out muggy, and you can expect the storms probably for 10 out of 12 months of the year the way it goes down there.
Yeah, I experienced that quite a bit, and sometimes the weather it rains for like 15 minutes, and then you're good for the rest of the day. But sometimes it stays out and hangs out for a while.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and looking at some of our other games that we did talk about last week that have resolved here, St. Andrews just took care of NSU University School pretty easily, and some people are like, oh well, they're expecting NSU University School to contend for the SSA state title in their 11-man division, but I'm like, you got, in my mind, is that you've got to win. You play the hard games, but you've got to win you got to at least win one of those, in my opinion. Along the way, I feel like that goes for any team. You're going to schedule some hard games. You better win a couple of those along the way.
Oh yeah, and your scheduling comes with the territory. If you can't win those games, what's the point in scheduling them?
No, you got to be able to win some of those games. But Cardinal Newman Pahokee, that game was much closer than I thought it would be. But Cardinal Newman took care of Pahokee down there and down over there in the muck. And Miami Palmetto will have head coach Mike Manasco coming on here in just a few minutes here to talk about the Panthers. How about a big win for them over Columbus? I believe the final score was 24-21, and good off to a good start in that District 7A 16 race. Panthers taking there and drops Columbus to 0-3 on the season, and of course American Heritage going to overtime of Edna Carr at the Caesar Superdome in New Orleans. There needed overtime, but came up just short there, and then of course, Miami Northwestern handled Norland and took care of business there. And the Bulls are rolling, and of course the Vikings are 2-2. Northwestern's now 2-1 on the season. And I'm pretty sure Mark Hammon's still waiting in the parking lot for that my Northwestern Venice game.
Of course he is. What else is new?
I just had to say it because the last couple of weeks he said he's been waiting in the parking lot. I'm pretty sure he's still waiting in the parking lot over there at Travis for that game. That probably is not going to be made up at all.
Yeah, one of the other games that I found interesting was American Heritage beating up on North Broward Prep the way they did, but that Delray beat American Heritage.
Yeah, and that's during the SSA Atlantic League, and the Delray American Heritage is already 4-0. But as I see that, it says Marquette. It says yes, I am. Looking at this, Mark Cannon brings it up, and we can't bypass this news. But Diabell is out for the rest of the year for American Heritage, and it's been 2 years in a row that there's been a season-ending injury there for Bell in terms of he's especially if AHP does get to the state championship game in 4A again, that's now they're turning to Leon Strader, which I don't think he played last week. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't seen the full box score because I haven't been able to hit that box. But I know that when it comes to transfers and stuff, obviously you got to go through the good clause policy, go through all the process before you before you get out on the field and stuff. But they're expecting Leon Strader to lead the rest of the way for them this year.
Of course, Leon Strader, he played, I think, with
Northwestern. Yeah, he played a heck of a game in that state championship game against Reigns in 3A, and then started out. But it was a Neiman Lawrence there. It was a 2 quarterback rotation system this year, but Strader is now going over to American Heritage, turning the reins over to the other quarterback there at Miami Northwestern. So. A lot of changes going on in terms of, we talked about it last week with transfers, and sure enough, it's another one of those situations where you're going to probably see more of this pop up here during the season goes. And as long as they follow what that rule number 4 is, the good cause policy that the FHA has, and then that's the way it goes right now here, Chris.
Yeah, and if you ask me about the transfer rules, I wish they would take a sheet of paper and just do this with it. Because it sucks. It sucks for the spirit of high school football.
No, and it's one of those things where, we've heard a lot of differing opinions about, with the transfer rules and everything like that. So it's definitely one of those things. And of course, we hear about it. We heard about it with Coach DeBuck last week from Cardinal Gibbons. It was one of those things where the transferring during the off season, that's one thing, but during the in season, that makes it really, in my opinion, really tough to deal with. It's one of those things where it's like, all of a sudden you have a good player and you lose him. That I know that's that's tough for some programs to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
no, absolutely, and of course, as we look along here, we've definitely got some games here that we're going to be coming up. Miami Central, that was another game. They were supposed to play Palmetto Beach for their first district game, and Mother Nature took that to the graveyard again. But they have to make that game up in order to determine a district champion there in their district down there in Class 3A. Which, when we talk about Class 3A, Chris, is that we've already made it basically. It's Miami Northwestern, really basically. It's Miami Northwestern, Miami Central in the South right there, and it's like whoever's going to come out of the North. Could it be Reigns? But it really. It's a lot. Mark Cannon says my wife wants me to transfer. I'm not touching that one, Mark. I can't touch that one. I just cannot touch that one.
I'm not touching that either.
Nope. Not with a 10-foot pole or a 39.5-foot pole. So nope, not at all. All right, we've got to take a quick break here, a 2-minute timeout, and then we're going to get to our interview here. Actually, before we do that, we've got our Week 3 player, Traverse Finley, Shama Madonna, defensive end, our Week 3 player of the week for South Florida Blitz. And about this, led that defensive charge with 7 tackles, 3 sacks that sparked the Lions front 7 in that 28-24 come from behind victory over American Heritage Plantation in that Week 3 game, Chris.
Yeah, that was a fantastic performance. And Traverse Finley is one of the best players in the state, and I look for him to do more things at the college level.
No, absolutely. All right, we're going to have head coach Mike Manasco from Miami Palmetto joining us here on the other side for the interview. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. We'll be right back here on the South Florida edition of the Blitz here on 4HSFootball.com and the 4HSFootball.com social media networks.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Touchdown! Juggled and caught!
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought, if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it, because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, there's a great chance that I can do it. First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
All right, welcome back here to the South Florida edition of the Blitz here as we roll along into week number 5 here. Josh Wilson here along with Christopher Like, and joining us now is the head coach of the Miami Palmetto Panthers, head coach Mike Manasco. Coach, appreciate you joining us here on the show. And Coach, boy, you talk about the start this year and talk about district play getting underway last week for y'all and for 7A16 and a big win over Columbus to start off and that district play. And just kind of give us, your thoughts here in terms of how the team has performed here in these first few weeks of the season here. And, of course, getting that big district win over Columbus, a team that y'all always go back and forth and battle with every year here and when it comes down to the district play or just in the same general region in the classification, because y'all are all usually both of them in the highest classification. But just give us insights here on this with your team.
Yeah, thanks for having me. They've always been a huge hurdle for us, so it's kind of good to get one here this year to kind of force that to be a rivalry, because we hadn't beaten them since 21. But yeah, like you guys were saying earlier, Mother Nature's been killing us down here. I can't remember it being this bad, and I've been a high school football coach for 24 years in Dade County, and we missed our first game. We got rushed on the field. Our second game only had like 15 minutes to warm up, and then luckily we were able to get a couple in. But Columbus is a huge test. I mean, they're one of the premier programs in Florida, and us battling them every year, and every year it's close. Every year it's just there, but they've always found a way to get the better of us. And, you know, I just feel like it's good to get it now, but I think everyone knows we're going to see him again. And that's the one that's really going to count.
I mean, you know, and you mentioned the weather here. I mean, what has it been like for y'all in terms of that? You know, just, you know, not just, you know, being able to play games, but being able to get out on the field and just practice, you know, after school. I mean, that's got to be tough on y'all, especially when you, not only that, when you're dealing with the storms and stuff, but dealing with the wet bulb situation.
Yeah, we practiced outside one time last week. That was Thursday, the day before the game. And, you know, we have a very good girls volleyball team, and, you know, we have, you know, the gym's always being used, it seems like. So it's like we have to come up with ways. You know, our kids constantly are battling adversity. I think it's good to do it early on. I think it's kind of wearing its welcome out now. You know, one of our star running backs actually tweaked his hamstring a couple weeks ago, and just because we had to wait on a delay and then come back, and, you know, and when fast kids pull hamstrings, it takes a while. So we haven't even had him on the field. But hopefully we'll get him back this week. But no, it's been as challenging as I can remember. It's good for adversity with the kids to kind of, you know, to build this kind of callus right now. And so that if something does happen where for some reason something, you know, goes wrong, or there is something late or this or that, or, you know, it'll give us that ability to fight through it, I hope, later on in the year.
Of course, every year we hear here in Miami Northwestern, we hear Miami Central, we hear in Southridge, we hear all those Miami schools, but we never hear about Miami Palmetto. What is it like being the school that nobody talks about, you know, especially in Miami-Dade County?
You know, we're fighting for our seat at the table. I'll tell you that much. But, you know, we play those teams. I mean, we don't back down from playing anybody. And I think in order to be where we want to be, you got to play those teams and you got to win. You know, we'll see one of those teams in the GMAC game, whether it's Northwestern, Central, Norland. We'll see one of those games. But we've played those teams in the past, but you're right. You know, I mean, Miami Palmetto, we're trying to make a name. This is year 12 for me there, and we've won a lot of games. And, you know, the 2020 year we lost in the state semifinals, and we're just clawing to try to get back in that, you know, that same breath. But I will tell you what, you know, we got to have a great staff. We have great kids. We have a great administrative support, you know, so Palmetto's been very consistent, and now we just got to be consistent at winning championships.
No, absolutely, and of course, y'all have always been in the mix for in recent years, obviously, for deep playoff runs. Talk about some of the guys who are already making an impact this year, because I know that, you know, again, you know, in this day and age of where kids just move around, and especially down in South Florida where transfers happen, it seems like more than we can change our socks, kind of proverbially speaking. I mean, talk about some of the guys that are standing out for y'all this year, because I know that they deserve the due recognition.
100%. And, you know, we could sit here and talk about transfers for hours. I mean,
right.
I can't stand it. I mean, it's driving me out of this situation, you know, because I'd much rather build a program, and I'd much rather start from freshman on the way up. You know, it's tough, and it's the Wild West. I think you guys it's well documented, but anyway, like I said, you know, I've got a great senior quarterback, Andre Bailey. He'll be his second year starting for us, and, you know, he's as tough as they come. He's an athlete. Got some great receivers on the outside with CJ Miller, Caden Howard, Willie Wilson. You know, we've got a lot of guys that can make plays. And then our two special kids are in the backfield with Varian Terry and Aiden Butler. You know, I really feel like we have one of the best backfields in the entire state of Florida, especially when healthy. Our offensive line is pretty senior heavy this year. They've played a lot of ball together. We're big, we're physical. And then on the defensive side of the ball, this is probably the youngest front seven I've ever had. We only start one senior. His name's Jaden Henry. He's as dominating outside linebacker as I've had, and we've had some really good ones. And then our secondary is, you know, we got three seniors back there with, you know, Michael White, Winton Jones, and Braylon Green, and they're all Division I caliber kids, and they're kind of, you know, this defense is getting better as we play, and that's been the issue with the weather. Man, these kids need reps. They need to play, because we just laid a complete egg against Southridge in the first quarter. And then we battled back in, but, you know, it was good to get a win against Columbus. I mean, that was a great game. You know, I don't know if you guys followed it, but it was an up and down. There were 4 lead changes in the second half, and it was a fun high school game. The atmosphere was great.
I mean, you know, for y'all, you know, talk about, you know, because, you know, give people perspective may not understand us, but, you know, in Miami-Dade County, y'all, you know, there's over 50 high schools, and y'all are sharing about 8-9 stadiums down there. Talk about the perspective, especially when, you know, a lot of your games obviously at Tropical Park. Sometimes they're, you know, maybe at Southridge, depending on the scheduling, but just talk about, you know, that's, you know, when it comes to playing games, it's at a shared site, it's a neutral site, and it's it can get loud with the fans from both sides.
Yeah, there is no home field in Dade County if you're a public school, right? We have Tropical Park, but there's probably about 15 high schools that call Tropical Park home. Luckily, we're one of the bigger draws, so usually we'll get a good Friday night game. But lately, we've been playing on some Thursdays. So yeah, it's tough, But I will tell you that the fan base at the Columbus game was the best I've seen it in years. Our student section was unreal. But we like to go and if you followed us for years, we go up and play a bunch of different teams, whether it's Naples or Vero Beach or Lakewood, or we're just constantly traveling because I want our kids to feel that home environment that these other teams have, because it's special, and unfortunately we don't have it at that level here, but it also prepares our kids to play big games in the playoffs.
No, absolutely. And of course, when looking at everything here with this, the schedule, obviously, they got the first test down in the belt. Well, obviously in the district play, obviously, there's Coral Gables, South Dade, and obviously Miami High left in the district schedule later in the year. But, one of the things that's because it's not on the schedule yet, because we don't know what it's going to look like, because we'll have to wait for a few more weeks of rankings before we know. But that GMAC game coming down in week 9, I mean, how do you feel about that, where they've started doing this? They did this. It's been going on for a few years now, but where a game where it's a matchup between usually the best teams in Miami-Dade County, and obviously that includes Columbus, obviously, because they're the one private school in the GMAC. Just being able to do this and playing up a game that you don't know who you're going to play come week 9.
Yeah, there's not one coach in Dade County that is at a premier program that likes what we're having to do with this. It's kind of towards the end of the season, they just kind of threw it at us, and one year we played Columbus 3 times in one season.
I remember that. That was a double.
I would love to see the stat on that in the state of Florida, how many times that's happened, right? But we played Columbus 3 times for the district championship, the GMAC, and the regional championship all in one year. So yeah, not a big fan. And any of the guys, that have been around and that are at the bigger schools. I think the idea was good. I'm not gonna knock the GMAC for the idea, but it wasn't really thought out to the coaches, right? To the say, hey, do you guys want to do this? Or hey, how would we do this? It was more like, this is what you're doing. And I think when you've got programs like ours and others where we've done good things and we've gone and we've done a good job displaying the GMAC, and it kind of was like almost like a slap in the face. But we're doing it every year, and we should have a great matchup this year from somebody in the city, which should be awesome for Palmetto.
No, and with that said, you talked about going on the road. Obviously, you went to Bishop Road this year. They're going to come to y'all, at the end of the season. I mean, what to be able to have that, again, play somebody that's outside the region, being able to do that, talk about that, because I know, again, you're talking about the side here with the GMAC. Obviously, you lose that week because that could have been a week that you could have gone on the road somewhere and took these kids outside. So you're not getting to do as much as that this year because of the way the schedule falls.
Yeah, and with the new districts and there's so many classifications and all those things, it hurts better teams trying to find games, right? Like, because not everybody's trying to play everybody like it used to be. We've had a lot of teams on the south end of our county that we have traditional rivals with that have backed away for years, and so it makes it difficult. That's why it's always good to get out, and I always try to look for a travel game this year, just because Bishop Rowe's coming to us, it just didn't work out. But we've, like I said, every year we've tried to go somewhere to play and to give our kids that experience of traveling, one, but two, playing in a hostile environment. Like there's not many more hostile environments than Vero Beach on a Friday night, so, and especially when you're you got all the things going on up there that go on up there. So it's great for the kids to travel. It's great for the coaches. It's great for, the fans that want to take that trip. But yeah, because Bishop Rowe is coming down here, which we're excited about, the day before Halloween. So, we're not making that trip. So hopefully we'll make a couple in the playoffs.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, you sort of alluded to it. Like a couple of years ago, we had the suburban and metro split in the alignment. What are your thoughts on that? And would you like to see that come back, or would you like to see something different in terms of the realignment?
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see public and private separated. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a public league and a private league just because of the advantages and the disadvantages and all those things. Other states have done it. I don't know. That model should be studied. I think the Metro Suburban was one of the worst ideas the state of Florida has ever come up with. Just from me down here being from where I'm from. But like I said, I think that if you were going to separate, I think it should be public-private.
No, I've heard a lot of that from a lot of coaches, public and private split. But that was a good question, Chris, because obviously we're going to start to find out what the FHA may have cooking up for reclassification coming up here, because they're going to vote on a plan come November. But we'll find out starting at their board meeting next Monday. And Coach, I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. And hopefully Mother Nature will calm down there for you, so you can get more practices outside.
Yeah, and I tell you what, this once October hits, we're usually pretty good, but we'll knock on wood and keep on going. But listen, I appreciate you guys. I love what you do for our sport, what you do for high school. 'Cause it's all about the kids at the end of the day and being able to promote them and promote games. And I wish we down here had more of a voice, and I think we're heading towards that, I hope. But I really appreciate what you guys do. Thank you very much for having me on.
Coach, appreciate you. Thank you so much, and best of luck the rest of the way there in the season.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. That was my Miami Palmetto head coach, Mike Manasco, joining us here on FloridaHSFootball.com on the South Florida edition of the Blitz. And good. This was Chris said we should get Coach on, and I'm glad he was able to do that with us.
Yeah,
and,
my idea.
Yeah, and Chris takes full credit on that one. I do not. I just did the reaching out. That's what I did.
Yeah, and a school like Palmetto, they deserve that recognition. So Yeah,
and there's a couple, no, absolutely. And I'll tell you this right now, there's some other schools down there that we want to definitely look at and talk about. And then not just public schools, but obviously some of the private schools that may think there's one down there I would really like to get on here at some point is Immaculate Cell. What they're doing down there on their side, they're doing some pretty good stuff. So we're looking again. It's not just about obviously the powerhouse schools. It's also about the schools that are doing well but not getting their due diligence or doing their due respect. We want to bring these guys on. We want to talk to these coaches, and we're going to start bringing in players. We actually tomorrow night we'll do our first player actually on our show. We'll actually with her head coach. Yes, it's the female. It's the first ever female player to score points at Dunellen on the North Central Florida Blitz tomorrow. We will have head coach JB Bynum, and I've got it right here in my notes here, and I'll pull it right up here. I've got it right here in front of me, and it's Jelena Lopez Newman. She's the kicker for Dunellen, so we'll definitely be able to have some fun with that and talk to both of them. But we'll start getting some of the players and being able to talk to them as well here on our shows coming up in the future.
Always fun to talk to players, always fun to talk to coaches, and especially media members. So we're a diverse show here.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely like to do our shows diverse and then being able to provide a different perspective from all corners of the state. That's what we do here on our show, like the South Florida edition of the Blitz here. All right, we got to take a 2-minute timeout. Then we got the fan questions and comments in our pick 6 for week number 5. We'll be right back right after this.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with a free ScoreStream mobile app. Download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Juggled and caught.
All right, welcome back here on the South Florida edition of the Blitz here. Josh Wilson along with Christopher Lycan. Sunshine has made a return appearance again for the second time tonight. We have not seen midnight, but it's not midnight yet in Florida or anywhere on the East Coast. I mean, it's midnight probably.
Sleeping back there.
Yes.
Midnight sleeping behind the door.
No, absolutely. And, there's when we were on the break, Chris, that there was some talk about the Metro Suburban, and it seems like there's obviously some people are like, yes, some people love Metro Suburban, some didn't. Emory was definitely a love. I think, and I got to say this, and I know that a lot of people got upset with me, but I was a big proponent of Metro Suburban. I thought we had some of our closest state championship games. We had some of the best playoff games in that stretch. Mm-hmm. Okay, was it the best system? No, but did it bring closer to competitive equality? Yes, but. I didn't want to talk about it on the last couple of shows, but obviously I'm going to have to do it here because one of the rumors I'm hearing right now, and I'm just going to do it. One of the rumors I'm hearing down is a shrinkage in the number of classifications. Bring the number of teams up to maybe 120 per classification. Expand the rural out. That is just one thing I'm hearing. But I don't know what to expect when come next Monday for the FSA board meeting. My plan, I would love to do this, and I don't know, but I'm going to have to look at it, is I'll be there at the board meeting. I know the FSA strings the board meetings live, but I know some people have a hard time with the thing because of the way the audio is set up for that. But I want to go be there at the meeting, Chris, get notes, and hopefully maybe I can come back and kind of do some kind of special episode just to kind of give people a brief of what, just to focus on this, because obviously as we get closer and closer, the classifications are going to be a hot topic for us. It's going to be a big bone of contention for a lot of people. I definitely agree that there needs to be a shrinkage in the number of classifications. How do you approach it? What do you do? There's got to be a lot to do that.
And going back to the Metro Suburban thing, they had the right idea. They just need to tweak it a little bit more. From the people I talked to, they definitely need to. There was something they needed to tweak, but we can't put our finger on why the system failed the way it did.
I think there was pushback on certain aspects. I think there was pushback, but I don't think. I think they should have. What should have been done, and this is just my opinion. Again, my opinion only, is that they should have looked at it, go another 2 years on it, but look at what tweaks can we make? What worked? What didn't work so well? I would have said, how do you stay awake at this board meetings? Well, I usually have a setup and I have caffeine, Mark. That's how I stay awake at those board meetings at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning. That's how I do it. And then obviously, by the way, eat breakfast before you get there, or get some breakfast somewhere along the way. That's my recommendation. That's how you do it. But that's where we're at right there. But as we roll along, we have got to get to, you know what time it is, Chris? I know what time it is.
6.
Yep. It's time for the Pick 6 for week number 5. It's 6 games, 6 picks, 1 winner as we bring it up here on the screen here. And obviously, I have had a little bit of a slight malfunction here on this one because I thought I got it working here on the screen, and for some reason it's not wanting to go for me here, so I'll just do it this way. There we go. Maybe it'll finally click in. Let me see if it got. There we go. Finally working. I don't know why it was not wanting to go there, but there we go. Anyways, our first game up for pickings this week here is Royal Palm Beach hopped a hot 4-0 start under head coach Sam Curry at Camden County, 4-0. And, it really, it's this game's going to be really interesting. Camden County is a 13-point favorite over Royal Palm Beach. Camden County, 83% chance of winning this game. Royal Palm Beach actually in double digits to win this game here, Chris.
I kind of agree with it. Camden County, a lot of people don't realize they're a team that known nationally for traveling. and for some strange reason, they're close to the Florida border. So why can't we count them as part of Florida? I mean, but, I think they're going to win this thing, and it's not going to be close.
Yeah,
don't mess with the Cougars.
Yeah, the Camden County Wildcats, but the Cougars, for the Panther. But actually, there's a battle of Wildcats here, Wildcats here, for Royal Palm Beach and Monroe Palm Beach, and really, actually, is it Royal Palm Beach Wildcats? Yeah, Wildcats, I believe. Anyways, I gotta say this here. It's just really looking at this here. I want to see Royal Palm Beach go back, go 5-0, and beat Camden County. Because right now Florida is not doing well in terms of the in terms of the out of state record this year. We're not doing well in that department this year. But I'm a realist, not trying to sugarcoat it. Camden County is going to win this game. Camden County brings out a big crowd every week for their games, and of course, obviously, Travis Rowland knows Florida football very well. Obviously, the former Mainland head coach, who's the head coach now there at Camden County. I am rolling Camden as well, but Reno, he's picking Royal Palm Beach for an upset. How about that?
I don't see it.
Noli says Florida needs to scale back on the OSS games and regroup. You might be right about that. Emery Smith says, I bet $1 million a team with the feline mascot will win. Who was?
No comment.
Oh my goodness, Emery, you tripping me up, man. All right, our second game here is West Broward 1-2 at Flanagan 3-0. West Broward is a 4-point favorite over the Falcons. West Broward a 64% chance of winning this game. Boy, oh boy, according to the Florida Power Rankings Index. Oh man.
We talked about this game. I think yesterday we talked about this game, and I mentioned that Flanagan. There was a sleeping giant down there, but I think Flanagan's doing a pretty good job. But West Broward, they've got the schedule in their favor. They played a tougher schedule. Give me West Broward.
I'm going West Broward as well, but Reno goes with the home team usually if it's a 10-point or under, and that's the case here. But by the way, I think it's West Broward. They don't even have a home stadium, so I think Flanagan does. So, but anyways, he's going Flanagan on this pick. So I'm just going to stick with West. I'm going to go with West Broward here on this one. I feel like this is going to be the case here. But anyways, for our third game on the picks, it is Calvary Christian Fort Lauderdale 3-1 versus North Miami 4-0. Calvary Christian a 7-point favorite. Win probability: Calvary Christian 75%. North Miami 25%. And I did see a couple of flicks for West Broward, and Mark Cannon's going Flanagan. I have a feeling Mark Cannon just goes against us because he likes to, and I love it. I love Mark Cannon. Mark Cannon's great. By the way, if you're getting a phone call with Mark Cannon, be prepared to be on the phone talking for over an hour on football. I love it.
Yeah.
So,
give me Calvary Christian in this one. But for the team, North Miami. Good start to the season, but you're running into a gauntlet.
Yeah, North Miami, home of the Larry Bluesteins, his North Miami Pioneers, and I gotta give a shout out to those North Miami Pioneers for the fighting Larry Bluesteins, and I'm gonna go with the fighting Larry Bluesteins here. North Miami is my pick here, and I think you said North Miami it is for you, and Reno is going Calvary Christian, and we'll see what happens here. But I think going into Miami-Dade County, it's hard. And Mark Cannon says it's the Reno in me.
Yeah, I picked Calvary Christian, by the way.
Oh, you picked Calvary Christian. Okay, so that's right. Okay, sorry. I'm going North Miami. I think this is. I think that going down into Miami-Dade County, it's definitely a little bit. It's tough. It's a tough act. But anyways, here is our fourth game. It is Miami Norland 2-2 at Atlantic Delray Beach 4-0. Norland a 3-point favorite. Atlantic has played a good schedule. Norland even tougher schedule than Atlantic in my opinion, and this is why the computer is calling Norland a 3-point favorite. But Again, it could go either way. New Orleans, 60% chance win probability. Atlantic, 40%, according to the Florida Power Rankings Index. Chris, where we go with this one?
Normally, I would go New Orleans in this situation, but Delray beats Atlantic. They're a much better team than New Orleans right now. They played a good schedule too. So give me Atlantic.
Man, this one's tough. But after seeing what I want to go New Orleans, but Reno is going New Orleans. Here's my thing. After talking to Mark Cannon, after way Atlantic just demolished Blanche Ely last week, give me Atlantic. This will be a huge resume win for the Eagles if they get this win. So I'm going Atlantic here. I'm going with the Eagles on this one here. So with that said, our fifth game on the docket is Miami Northwestern versus Columbus. Yes, okay, people are going to ask me, why do I have an 0-3 team? Well, it's Columbus. If there's any game here that might be a trap game for the Bulls, this is going to be that game because Columbus, again, obviously it was a tight one, 24-21 against Miami Palmetto last week. If there's a trap game, this potentially could be that trap game. I think the forecast is going to be a little bit closer, but don't get me wrong. Northwestern's good. And win probability giving Northwestern 100% chance here, but you just never know.
Yeah, it's going to be closer than that computer's saying. I think it's going to be Miami Northwestern's still going to win, but I think Columbus will make it a game.
I think Columbus will make it a game and bring it a bit closer. And then in terms of the forecast, give me Miami Northwestern, but the Bulls aren't. Mark Cannon says Bulls ain't going for no trap. You might be right, Mark. You might be right. But at this particular point, I have to say here, if there's a game that could be a trap, this would be one I would put as a trap because of the Explorers. The Explorers could come out busting wild, and next thing we know, we got something else going on. So I'm just saying, never say never in high school football. I've had to learn that over the years. This is my 16th season doing this. So in terms of Florida HS football, I've learned a lot in that 16 years. And Chris has been doing this even longer in terms of high school football. He's learned a lot.
I've been doing it for 2.5 decades.
So if that tells you anything where we're going, that's where we're going. All right, American Heritage Plantation 1-2 at hosting Miami Central 2-0. Boy, oh boy, Chris, where do we go with this one?
Oh man, this was. I struggled with this when you gave me the pick yesterday. When I struggled with it because I'm like, that Miami Central team, they've been mad all season. But give me American Heritage.
Really? You're going AHP? Wow. Okay. Man, I'll get to Emery's comment here in a moment here as we wrap it up here because we got to get on here real quick because we're out of time when we got to get onto our Tampa Bay Blitz show. But Miami Central, American Heritage, it just, man, I'm so torn here. But Reno's going Miami Central. I want to go Central, but then I want to go AHP, and AHP is a good environment. And you know what? I'm just going to roll the dice here, and I'm going American Heritage here on this one. Mark Cannon's going to be there, so I can't wait for Mark Cannon's updates. And Emery Smith just said he got an ad for Winn-Dixie. He want me to buy some seasoning for this. Well, that's good to know. Winn-Dixie ads are playing on my show or are appearing for all the content here, so that's good to know. Anyways, we are out of time here, Chris. Any quick final thoughts here as we wrap this up here?
We got a good slate of games coming up the next couple of weeks. So, especially, like we said in the first two shows, look forward to that playoff roadmap. And some of these games that we're talking about, it's included in this series.
Absolutely here. All right. Well, we got to roll here. We're going to be starting our Tampa Bay Blitz here show a couple minutes behind, but anyways, we'll be back here in just a couple minutes here for the Tampa Bay edition of the Blitz to wrap up our Tuesday night shows here on FortHSFootball.com. We'll be right back right after this here on FortHSFootball.com and our FortHSFootball.com social media networks.